All right. Good evening, everybody, once again. And you're welcome to the dialogue with myself, Lady Raj. Like I said earlier, I would kindly ask you to share the link to somebody. Click on the share button, share it to your friends and family, and let everyone benefit from this important discussion. All right. So tonight we're talking about childhood trauma. And I know that for a lot of people, it takes your mind, very far. It doesn't sound relatable, but I am sure that by the time we start, you will know how very relatable this is. Okay, so let me just share something simple with you. So, when we talk about the formative years of a child's development, we are talking about the period between the ages of zero, that's from birth till 8 years. That is the formative years or the formative period of childhood. By the way, if you can hear me, please put some fire emojis in the chat box so that I see that you can hear me. If you can hear me, kindly put some fire emojis in the chat box. If you can hear me loud and clear, give me some fire emojis. All right, all right, all right. Thank you, my people. So, yes, like I was saying, the formative years are the period between the ages of 0 to 8. And that is when the brain and the neurobiological development are the fastest. And now, what happens to a child in these years can affect their physical development, mental development, and success in life. So, a child's formative years are a potent time when it comes to defining who a child is and who they will become in future. And these years, whatever happens in there, have a lasting impact on their brains and healthy development. Now, why am I telling you all this? You see, there are a lot of damaged adults walking around, a lot of people um, in so many situations, mental breakdowns, depression, a lot of insecure people. You know that a few weeks ago we spoke about self-esteem, and a lot of these people developed these things in their childhood period. Tonight we want to delve deep into this topic and talk about how everything that happens around a child can affect their development. Tonight, I have none other than my very own sister, Mrs. Eunice Tagoe. She's a counselor, a certified counselor, an entrepreneur. She sells all kinds of things, I'm telling you. This woman sells all kinds of things. And she's into all kinds of counseling, and that includes counseling of children. Eunice, or Ejubi as I call her, is a married woman. She's been married for 8 years. So let me not waste any more time. Eunice, you're welcome again. Thank you so much for coming again. We're having a discussion, a conversation on WhatsApp about something, and it led to this. And so thank you so much for making out time to be with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a round of applause. Let me see some clap emojis in the chat box. Give me some clap
Alright.
emojis in the chat box. Hi sis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Aha. Oh, give it up for my sister. Give it up for my sister in the chat box. Hey, only two people are clapping. I beg you, clap for her. Oh. Clap for her. Let me see more people. Let me see more people. That's right. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Osofo. More people, please. Give me some clapping. I need two more before she talks. She said if she doesn't get two more people clapping, she's not going to talk. So please do it for me. All right. One more person. And then we can go. Great. All right, Eunice. Thank you so much. You're welcome once again to the dialogue
Thank you.
and just take us away.
Good evening, everyone. It's been a while.
Good evening. Can you please come up a bit with your voice?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Oh, it's perfect. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Um, I
I am
remember
good.
this particular topic came up on my WhatsApp status, and it was sad. I mean, it was very emotional for myself and Raj because of some of the messages I received and I posted them. Personally, it's something I don't take for granted at all because I have some experiences and I realized or understood some of the effects when I grew older. And it's something that I don't think any child of mine or any child I know at all should experience. And so it's something that it's dear to my heart. And I hope today we would learn and unlearn some things. So before we get into it, I need all of us to know that children have emotions and feelings just like adults. Children get stressed, they get inferiority complex, they get hurt, they get angry, they get sad, and it's very easy to dismiss their emotions and feelings. But we should remember that just as adults, all of their emotions are valid. They are valid just as adults. And so sometimes when your child even complains that, oh, I'm tired or I'm this, it's very easy to dismiss it. Now, what have you done that you are so tired? What are you stressed about? Somebody pays your fees, somebody works for it's very easy, very, very easy to dismiss it. But we forget that some of these things actually mold these children up to become whatever it is they will become in the future. And we don't pay particular attention to it until it's too late, until you can't really do anything about it, or until you would have to pay a huge price to get them become what they really have to become. And so for me, the first thing I'm going to talk about is verbal abuse because it's quite common.
Mm,
It's very, very common.
mm,
When you take someone like myself and other people that have probably experienced it, we are very careful when it comes to our kids. But unfortunately, there are people that are our friends, there are people that are family, relatives that are toxic. Because when we talk about toxic people, everybody is thinking about their exes or somebody they don't like. But family can be toxic as well. Yes,
oh, goodness.
about relationships that did not work. But family can be toxic, friends can be toxic. As a parent, for me, I'm doing everything I can to make sure I don't use the wrong words on my child or make him feel like he's a certain way when he's really not. So I'm careful. Unfortunately, our friends and families, I mean, the toxic ones are not like that. So someone can come into your space, what you are trying to build to make your child, confident enough, they'll just come in a second or in a minute, they destroy everything. And so when it comes to verbal abuse, that is where I think I was talking to Raj about that parents need to set boundaries.
Mm.
You need to set boundaries as parents. Sometimes because they are friends and we maybe do not want to lose that kind of friendship or whatever it is, we
You
allow
don't want to
things.
offend them.
Yes, you don't want to offend them, and so someone would. I shared something on my status, and everybody was surprised. I remember when I was young, I was around 9 years. I developed very fast. Anyone that knew me at 9 years, I had my period. At 9 years, I was looking like a 13-year-old,
Hmm.
big everywhere. Do you get it? And then you have your parents' friends coming in and making you feel like you're you're so different. And now you be say and now bolo and those kind of things. And what really broke the camel's back was something I put on my status, that my father's friend, it was my mom's friend actually, she came to our house very early in the morning and then we were about to have breakfast. My mom gave everyone, I don't remember if it was a cup of Milo or oats, whatever it was, but then we were eating it with bread, butter bread. And then this woman, she just came, like she just grabbed it out of my hand like I had offended her, and then took it to the kitchen, put it in a frying pan without oil, nothing. The way we toast it when we fry egg. I don't know if she was trying
Hmm.
to bring oil or fat out of the bread. So she brought it back to me, very crunchy, very hard. That this is what I should be eating. I'm too fat,
I
and
mean,
my mom was just standing there. I mean, I could tell from her face that she didn't like it, but she didn't speak
but
against
she
it.
said nothing.
Yes, she didn't speak against it, and I honestly do not blame her. I'm sure she was as shocked as I was. But then that particular thing that happened stayed in my mind for years. It stayed with me for years because my siblings were with me, they were eating, they were happy, and mine happened to be different. And it's not because my mom did it, but outsiders. And so I started feeling different. I started feeling like I had to do so much to fit in. So my sister Mami is on the page. You should remember, low self-esteem can make you do things. I would dye my hair, I would wear anklet, I
Hmm.
would do this, I would do that, trying to fit in, trying to belong. I know when you're in that space and people tell you that you are doing too much to fit in, you say it's not true. But in actual sense, it is. For some of us, not everyone. For some of us, because you
Hmm.
had to do something to stand out, to be recognized, to be acknowledged. And so when you come in, your father is angry that you went to PS 3 4 times. You don't care. You are excited because it has become a mental issue.
Hmm.
Uh, your conscience is almost dead. There's no remorse. There's nothing because you've achieved whatever it is you wanted to achieve, and that is to fit in or to stand out. So when it comes to family and it comes to friends, it's very important. One of the stories, one of the stories I received, a lady complained of her aunt always talking about her teeth being yellow and this and that, and her teeth was ugly, and because of that, she never smiled. And then people started calling her Mami Muna or something
Oh,
because she never smiled.
really?
She didn't want to smile because she had heard it from her aunt that her teeth wasn't nice, and so she shouldn't be smiling. And then because of that, she stopped smiling.
And now people are talking about that too.
Exactly. So it's a lot to deal with. As parents, we are the adults, and we are accountable to our children to ensure that they are raised in an environment that is safe, caring, nurturing, and filled with an atmosphere of unconditional acceptance and self regard. Because most of the things we project onto our children, it's because we did not deal with it. It's because
Hmm.
we did not find solutions to them. So you find a depressed adult who is not even a parent, maybe your friend or just a relative, projecting theirs onto your children. And so it's important that once you realize that this is becoming toxic for your children, you will find a way to put an end to it. Because when the problem starts, only you would endure. And so, for some of the issues that kids encounter when it comes to verbal abuse, it's a form of trauma, actually. It's a form of trauma. Consequences of verbal abuse: there's depression, there's mood swings, there's lowered self esteem, there's misplaced guilt. When I say misplaced guilt, most people have suffered verbal abuse, have heard again and again that everything that goes wrong, and I mean everything, including the price of the tea, I mean, price of tea in Ghana, is even their fault. They've been told repeatedly that you are at
Hmm.
fault and to be blamed for everything negative that happens in their lives. You know, so when you are abused like that, I mean, in the beginning, it seems bad and sad, but at some point, you accept it. It becomes like the your truth. You begin to accept it and you live with it. You know, and then the misplaced guilt would likely originate within the confines of the relationship, your relationship with your family members and friends and all the people around you. And so imagine your mother calling you a particular name, and then your siblings doing the same thing, and then family, and then everybody around you doing saying the same thing, calling you obolo, calling you big head, calling you yellow teeth, calling you this. You hear it so much that it becomes your truth. You accept it and you live with it. And then again, it causes isolation. You would
Hmm.
you would you would realize that most children as they grow would love to be on their own. They are hardly with friends, they are hardly playing. Oh, let's go here, I won't go. Most of the times. Most of the times, that's what happens. And when it happens like that, you might think, oh, maybe they're on pass. Sometimes you need to just investigate and find out the reason why they are isolating themselves from other children, because they feel they do not belong or fit in. And this is because they are either shy or they are dealing with low self esteem. Sometimes there's nothing really wrong with them, but they've heard it over and over and over. And I'm saying this because sometimes the parents do not even know. I don't think my parents even knew how much I was affected as a child with all the name calling about my body and how I was bigger than my age and all of those things. And it's funny how you grow up and you realize that the people that were calling you those names have children that are even bigger than you were at their age. But it's life. And as a child, it's very difficult to even deal with some of these things until you grow up. And by the time you grow, it probably would have had its negative effect on you already. So that's a lot to deal with. And there's another one that's called
Indeed.
post traumatic stress disorder. It is dangerous and understandable consequence of verbal abuse. Being beaten down by verbal abuse is extremely traumatic. It carries over into new relationships, the romantic type, platonic, professional, and familiar ones, because trauma comes from the subsequent communication issues. It brings self doubt and fear of rejection. You may find yourself extremely sensitive to a tense conversation or really hard on yourself for simple things. Disorders like PTSD can pop up unexpectedly, making you feel mentally unstable over things you think you should have a handle on. Like, adikitwe bi. I don't know if you've seen that in some kids. Akola we deni bufu ntemo. Like something very little that kids would normally
Mm.
laugh about, you would see this child all over
Yeah.
the place,
Yeah.
angry, overreacting. And people think it's, oh, it's
Mm,
normal.
overly sensitive. Yeah.
Yes, they think, oh, as for this child,
Mm.
saa nọtị o, nibufu ntem o. But no, these are some of the things that if you don't curb now, if you don't handle it now, you'd realize that as your child grows, it becomes a part of them. And they have to deal with some of these things on their own, especially when you're a parent that's not paying attention to it. I'm saying that when they are your children, sometimes you do it and then you regret, and you probably apologize. But if it's outsiders, if it's teachers, if it's friends, if it's,
Mm-hmm.
they say it and they might never even step foot in your house again and it's stuck with your children. And so boundaries are very important. I'm at a stage in my life where if you say anything bad about my child or see my child then go like, if he's not around and you say, hey, Ude, Ubani need to soon, cool. But in his presence, when you say stuff like that, I will make sure in his presence I say something to make him understand that you didn't even mean what you were saying, or you would have to apologize to my child.
That's
Because
right.
these hurt kids,
That's right.
they grow up to be hurt adults, and hurt people hurt people. That's it. We'll end up raising kids that would only grow up to be toxic. Aside the
With
spiritual
people.
things we
Yeah.
deal with, aside the spiritual things we would have to deal with, and not quite an issue on its own. Now we have to deal with the physical and their mental health. People that are hurt are always hurting people. People that are healed are always happy. They are excited for other people. They want to see other people do well. They are progressing in life. And that is what we want for our children. And so you might want to lose your friendship with someone toxic than actually lose your child to some form of mental health disorder, because they are real. We have kids. I have a 10-year-old client that says is
Mm.
that
Mm.
okay, 10-year-old child that beats Onone, the younger sister, because that's the environment he has been exposed to. He thinks it's okay for a man to
Wow.
beat a woman. So a 10-year-old boy is beating his 6-year-old sister, beats
Wow.
her merciless. You like mania brain and mabo.
Wow.
And then they bring this child in, and you realize that there's more to what's happening there. There's it started way longer than you know they found out, and it has stayed with this child for so many years, and he thinks it's okay because nobody has really called him to teach him or rebuke him about some of these things. They're just living life. And so this is something that um, parents need to set boundaries. Lose your friends, lose your toxic family and friends, and be there for your children. Okay. So when we talk about childhood trauma, it involves childhood sexual and
Hmm.
physical abuse.
Okay. It will be not
Okay.
not to sis.
Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Uh-huh. Okay, so just a minute, just a moment. All right, so if you just joined the discussion this evening, we are talking about childhood trauma and the role of parents in dealing with it or preventing it. And my guest this evening is Mrs. Eunice Tagoe. If you still haven't shared the link, please share it with a parent, share it with your friends, share it with your family members. Let everyone come and listen. Okay, so if you're talking about parents setting boundaries when it comes to the people that come close to their children or the people that relate with our children. But what if the case is the parents themselves abusing the child? maybe verbally. How do you deal with that? What if it is the parent herself or himself that is constantly verbally abusing the child, maybe because of an experience that he or she has had, or maybe because of the circumstance under which the child was born? How do we deal with that?
Circumstance as in as a child was born, as in they didn't want to have the child.
Exactly. Maybe they feel like maybe they had a child too early, and because of that it disrupted their lives or something.
First of all, when you were having sex, you didn't expect to get a plasma TV. I mean, we are adults. That's why it's important that you wait till you are ready to have a baby. I know sometimes it's unplanned and then it happens. When it happens like that and you feel your emotions are all over the place, it is wise, extremely wise, that you get help. As adults, we are able to, explain or identify exactly how we are feeling or what we are feeling. That's why we can tell that, oh, my stomach hurts, I need to see a doctor. My head hurts, I need to see a doctor. Kids are not like that. A child that can't really express him or herself might not be able to tell exactly how they are feeling, especially when it's not physical pain and it's an emotion. And so, if you're a parent and you realize that you are acting in a way that seems abnormal, you get angry easily, you have severe mood swings, you are hitting your child when you know you shouldn't be hitting the child, you are just overreacting, getting angry almost every time. It's important that you assess yourself and understand that something is wrong, because even though all these emotions are valid and are normal, anything to the extreme is abnormal. When you're excited, it's to the extreme. When you're angry, you're almost killing your child. When it's to the extreme, unless it has gotten to a point where that part, sorry, unless it has gotten to the point where that part of your brain is not working at all. But if you are feeling remorseful after treating them like that, then I'm sure it's not so bad. And so at that point, it's very important for you to get psychological help, because some of these parents went through exactly what I'm talking about right now. They didn't get help, they didn't heal, and they're old now. And as they grow, whatever it is we're suffering from has also grown. And so unconsciously or even consciously, they are extending it to people around them. However, every emotion can be controlled unless it has gotten to the point where we cannot control or left untreated. Because, Raj, let's be honest, no matter how angry someone is, when they go to work and their boss, overall boss, or even immediate boss is speaking to them anyhow, let's remember that we are able to sit through and listen to all the, I quote, in quote, nonsense they tell us, and we don't hate them. But
Yes,
then
so
when you come home and your child offends you just a little, you beat
yes,
them,
so
you hit them, you abuse them verbally. It is because you know you have power or control over them. That is why you allow yourself to go like that. If you didn't beat your boss because he's your boss, why can't you control yourself to the point where you can just overlook what your child is doing, rebuke them nicely if they've really done something wrong, and move on? If you're finding it very hard to control yourself around your child, that at the least thing you're calling them foolish or stupid or this or that, that's why your head is big, that's why you are not intelligent, look at your yellow teeth, look at your your big arms, look at this. Please know that this is someone you are building up. And whatever they hear, see, and experience sticks with them. And so if you think you need help, kindly, please go and get help, psychological help. Work on yourself. If they have to put you on antidepressants because you have some form of depression, let them do it. And make sure that your child does not turn out to be exactly what you don't want to be. If you experience it and you didn't like it, then you might as well, plan very well for your child. If you need help, please reach out to me. If not, if you are not ready for a baby, I
Hmm.
beg, stay away. Don't bring children into this world and frustrate the hell out of them, please. Okay.
Hmm. Well,
Oh, I
you
just saw.
continue. I have some more questions, but we'll come to that.
Okay. So, first one is the childhood sexual and physical abuse. As parents, again, I have an experience. For me, it was someone my parents trusted so much. It wasn't like someone you would even think or consider. It's always someone close. I always say that betrayal never comes from an enemy. It wouldn't be betrayal if it came from an enemy. It's always someone close. And so, as parents, pay attention, please. Pay attention. There are lots of people walking around with mental health issues. Pedophiles, it's a mental health condition. People that are attracted to kids. And now it's worse because even the male child is in danger. Back then, it was more of the female child, protect your female child, the man will rape. Now the boys are even getting raped. And you see, the sad truth is that if your child does not come up to
Yeah,
talk
so
about it, if
hmm.
your child does not come to you and talk about it, there's there's a point in trauma that's called acceptance. Your child would eventually accept it. He would think it's normal. There's anger, there's bargaining, and there's acceptance. The anger is when the child feels like, oh, I've been violated. Whether they understand it or not, they know somebody has abused their space. And so that's there. And then they will be angry. They are children, yes, but they will be angry. They would want to talk about it or not. They might want to be quiet. It depends on their temperament. And then there's this bargaining. They would make excuses because uncle or auntie will keep coming. It's not only the girls. Uncle or auntie will keep coming. They will come over and over and over. They will manipulate them. They will tell them the kind of things they want to hear. They will give them gifts. And so at some point, they will just accept everything. They will think it's normal. And it would go on for years. It can go on for years. And so it's very, very important that you like it's a daily thing. Oh, pay attention because you never know when these people would strike. And they monitor these kids for a very long time before they strike. I was watching a documentary where a pedophile rapist he was being questioned as to how he picks his, you know, what do you call them, the kids. What does he look out for? And he mentioned that he looks out for families that are weak, families that
Wow.
fathers do not pay particular attention to the kids because the mothers are always busy running around. Families that the kids do not have a strong bond with the fathers because they know it's the fathers that will come back and beat them or attack them.
Hmm.
The mothers usually just give it to God. And he was just talking. I had goosebumps. I was like, wow. So they know. They don't just get up and rape people. They sit, they plan, they 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 watch the kind of family. So
No,
if
no,
he
no,
says
no.
if
They
it's a,
know.
yes, he mentioned that if it's a very strong family, if they are really bonded, he doesn't even go there. He just moves on to the next vulnerable family, and then he will just go in like, especially kids that are always quiet and moody, and parents are not giving them attention, or parents do not necessarily know what's going on in their lives. They come back from school, no conversation. How did school go? Did anybody hate you? Did anybody do anything? So he comes in, he talks to these children, like he's like the comforter. He would listen to everything they have to say. They grow fond of him, and then he takes advantage of them. Sorry, some of them he kills them. I mean, yeah, and it's a lot to deal with. So please pay attention when your child comes back from school.
Wow.
When you
Wow.
see that
That's
his or
scary.
yeah, when you see that his or her mood has changed, please, no matter how tired you are, father, mother, pay attention. You know, just look at them, check the body, ask questions in love. And you see, the reason why I started with verbal abuses, if you are always yelling, belittling, insulting, it's very difficult for your kid to come home and tell you that something happened to them. Because mama is always acting like a lion and daddy is acting like a tiger. When you're coming, your children are running away. They cannot have a decent conversation with you. And when they go bad, they will bring it back home. You will be the first person they will attack before they take it outside. And so, aside the whole spiritual thing as Christians, we are always praying for our
Indeed.
kids, constantly praying
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
The physical and the mental part is also very necessary. And I pray that we do not take it for granted, because the devil would always dwell on our weakness and use it against us. And it would start
Hmm.
from somewhere. It would definitely start from somewhere. In as much as we are working on ourselves to become good people, our kids, they don't know anything. Obi by the 5 years, 6 years, Obeka say, Ukase Usa, all those kind of things. Yes, Oba knows sir. At 6, your
Are
child
you a
doesn't even
child?
understand. Yeah, are you a child? Yeah. We say it a lot. Are you a child? At 6,
And
your child doesn't even know what's going on in his body.
we are talking to oh God.
Ah,
Help us. Oh.
Zion, when Zion was 4, he said, he asked me that, what's the two balls in his pee doing? I said, oh, it's okay, leave it alone. You use it someday in life. I mean, after a month or two, he came to tell me that he wants to remove the balls and go and play with it. He wants to remove the balls and go and play with it. You know, he doesn't understand. Mommy, how did you give birth to me? I said, oh, you came out of my pee. Women have pee. I said yes, but I thought men have pee and women have hair. you know, so these kids, they learn a lot. They learn
Hmm.
a lot,
Hmm.
and so we have the mandate to
Hmm.
help shape and mold them into what God wants them to be. We are their destiny helpers. And so we
Hmm.
have that obligation to make it right by God. And then we would move on to witnessing domestic violence. Witnessing domestic violence. I know for this, we all know, if you decide to argue with your husband, or you decide to exchange words with your husband or your wife or your sister or your brother or your mother, that's why I'm cutting it across family, friends. If you ever decide to have an argument, please keep it away from your child, keep it away from your children. We all have friends that we can insult freely and not be bothered. We are adults, but our kids are not. Oh, my friend and I, do we insult each other, in the presence of your friends? Hey, with the whatever say, those kind of things. And then I don't want to use some of the words. And then we'll just say it freely in front of our kids. You're always doing it. You think you're not telling your child he's stupid, but you're
Hmm.
telling your friend he's stupid. So your child
Hmm.
hears it. Mommy said this man is stupid, so oh, to tell someone is stupid is okay. I hope you understand. In as much as you don't want your child to be verbally abused, do things that will not turn your child into one. Because the more your child hears it, it's likely that he or she would go out and tell somebody else or even tell you. Then that child becomes the abuser. So we are trying our best to make sure that nobody abuses our children verbally. Let's do our best to make sure or ensure that they don't become the abuser. And then we would move to bullying, especially in school. A lot of kids have died through bullying. A lot of them are depressed. A lot of them have developed certain kind of mental health disorders because they were bullied and their parents did nothing about it. Me, you will see me in your school. One of the messages I received, I don't know if Raj you saw it, but someone was complaining that a 6-year-old child has decided not to go to school again because a little girl in her class says she's bush, she's
Mm-hmm.
dirty, she's this, she's that. And when she told her
Hey, I'm
parents,
not sure I saw that.
when she told her parents, they didn't really do anything about it. When they finally decided to do something about it, they went to the school and the other 7-year-old child told the woman point blank that I'll call her that. What can you do to me? And when she mentioned it, she said the school is
Wow.
plan yes, the school is planning or thinking of suspending the child. And I asked what the other parents were doing about that. And the child has to stay in the school because of this and that, and there's no school around the area and a whole lot of excuses. I left it because I think we know what is right. We
Hmm.
just choose not to do it.
Yeah.
It is not me as I am sitting here that I will use this my big mouth to go and tell you that you should go and take your child out of that school because your child will grow up and think
Hmm.
she's not worthy. Your child will have low self-esteem. Your
Yeah.
child would have to suppress her gifts and talent because she's scared to bring it out for people to see. That's the kind of child you're going to have in future. And if you are not ready to sacrifice now so that you can give her a good future, then that is on you. That is your own problem. I can only pray for you. And so please,
Hmm.
if you hear that someone is bullying your child, even if you cannot, meet with the other parent, your child knows that mommy and daddy stood up for me. Mommy and daddy were there for me. It gives your child some form of
Yeah.
confidence. It gives your child some form of security because he knows that if you try me, my
Security.
mommy will finish you, my daddy will finish you. And that's the kind of confidence your child needs. So they walk out there boldly. They do everything with so much confidence and boldness. And that's what we are looking for. That's what we are looking for. So the next one would be
Hmm.
neglect. Neglect. If we keep making excuses, we all do it. We all do it. Honestly, we all do it. So I'm sure most of us have not really thought about it or thought of it. But the truth is, some of these things have so much negative effects on our kids. And they go with it too. All these depressed, sad people with anger issues, it just didn't start.
Mm-hmm.
It starts from
Yeah.
somewhere. It just
From
didn't start.
childhood.
Yes, it just didn't start. That's why it's very difficult to deal with mental health issues because it can take someone like 25 years to build that up, and then expecting it to go away in six
Hmm.
months is very, I mean, it's not possible, it's impossible. Do you get it? So when it starts
Hmm.
like this, parents, you're able to identify it and not neglect your kids' needs. Nobody is asking you to give them everything they want, but be there when they want to talk. Sometimes it's annoying. It's very annoying. Sometimes it is because they don't have mommy see, mommy look, mommy all of those things, especially when you are tired and you have a lot of children. But you see, there are certain things you can do that your children know that, oh, mommy is listening, mommy is watching. Sometimes you're not really listening, but you just, put a question, be across, talk and talk and talk. And, oh, you say, oh, wow, that's, meanwhile, the answer didn't even deserve a wow. But you are tired. When you're not tired, it's different. But
Ah,
when you're tired, yeah, you
and
can
then
tell,
what happened?
uh-huh. And you see, and this man, wow, that's really, mommy, are you sure you're listening? Yes, I'm listening. So they decide to sleep, or you can put them to sleep early. So all of these things are things that we really, really need to consider. If you don't want to end up with an adult that's dealing with all of these things that I've mentioned, that there are more. When it comes to mental health, the issues, I'm sure we have like, oh, I know of like 30, of about 30. And when it starts, it seems normal until there's nothing you can do about it.
30.
Oh, there are more, Cora. There are more because every one of them has its subs. So there are more, and it starts from childhood. It starts from the neglect, the abuse, the bullying. We think it's so normal. I remember when I was growing up, I was, I mean, verbally, my parents were the sweetest, but it was always the people around them. That's my concern. It was for me, it was always the people around my parents. They had something to say about everything. Why is she doing this? I remember one time, I was in school. Mommy knows this story. Before I got back to the hostel, someone had called my dad to tell him that I was wearing a certain kind of clothes that didn't depict that I was a Christian, and what kind of upbringing is that? And my father called me and he didn't even talk about it. He wasn't even angry. And I'm so grateful to God for the kind of parents I have. Their only problem was that they didn't shut their friends up. And
Hmm,
if so, they trained me well and they gave me so much. I
hmm,
remember when I was growing up, I could really sing. My
hmm.
dad was doing everything to make me go for Stars of the Future. Oh, Eunice, you can do this, you can do that. But because I had already been spoiled, I mean, in quotes, I was dealing with very, very low self esteem. I think I was at the lowest level. And you know what I was thinking of? That when I get
Hmm.
to the audition and people see me, they would laugh at me. Not at my voice, but at my body. If
Wow.
I knew I was this nice, Raj, I'm sure I'd have gone for American Idol. There was no point in my life that
Oh, my sister.
oh, me pound, fresh girl like me. Ah, and
Oh, nice girl like you.
and at that point, may say, Raj, when I wear long sleeve shirts, I will still use scarf. You know this scarf they use abroad when it's cold. I will still use a scarf to cover my arms, upper part of my
Hey,
body. So my dressing was
I
basa
see.
nyama because I was trying to. I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I thought,
Cover
you-
something.
yes, I was covering to hide. Maybe if I covered it, 50% of the flesh would automatically disappear.
Hmm.
I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just not thinking as a child. At 15, so anytime someone said, "Oh, you are beautiful," no, I'll melt like double double. And so it was very easy. It was very easy for people to take advantage. I'll just melt, sister, melt, melt everywhere, melting, melting
You take
everywhere.
advantage. Yeah.
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 So it was easy for people to take advantage of me. And so this person, when I was 17, when I was
Hmm.
17, the person who took advantage of all of these things was because I had low self-esteem. It was low. I was at my lowest. There was I remember I could even
Mm.
post pictures on what do you call it, Facebook. I would have to crop and make sure it was just my head, or I don't know. It was a lot to deal with. And because of
Wow.
that, places that I knew I could have gone to or I could have reached if I didn't have to deal with all of these things. And the opportunities I knew I could have grabbed if I had not suffered all of these things. And that was depression right there. And that was low self esteem right there. That was loneliness. Loneliness is different from isolation. Loneliness, you could even be among a lot of people and still feel lonely. That's why people would commit suicide right after having parties with their friends. Because even with friends, even while you're dancing and eating and
Yeah,
making
you
merry,
see
that,
the voice note I shared with you today.
yes, that emptiness, that loneliness is there. And it starts from somewhere, it starts from childhood. Always 95% these
Mm.
things start from childhood. The other
Mhm.
5% are events that happens around us, maybe out of illness or accident or
Mhm.
grief or any of those things. But 95% of the time it's from childhood. And when it's left untreated, when it's not dealt with, you grow
Mm.
into an adult to
Wow.
be everything we are talking about today. So I I think, um, and I think the last one would be difficulty trusting and constant attempt to please.
Wow.
Difficulty trusting and then constant attempt to please. I share that with you because I wanted to fit in, to please, to be the
Yes.
one to be noticed like my siblings. Yeah. And so you will do everything, even the unworthy ones. Wobɛhu obi, ɔbɛyɛ biribiara bi, they are trying too hard, they are doing too much just to fit in. And trust
Mm.
me, it just doesn't start. It definitely started from somewhere. Because why would I go and dye my hair red and I'm dyeing it orange and I'm and I'm buying
Somewhere.
all sorts of colors, you know? And once
Mm.
you realize that you are getting all,
Indigo.
yes. And when you're getting the attention, whether it's negative or not, you don't mind because you just want to be noticed. That's how it works. So, on childhood trauma,
Mm-hmm.
please, this is what I have to share. Thank you.
Hmm. Wow. 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 Thanks, sis. Thank you so much. A few questions here, and then I would want. I see about two teachers here. They teach kids, so I would want them to share some experiences with us if it will be possible. Mimi, I've sent you um an invitation to speak, and Deborah as well. Deborah, I've sent you an invitation to speak. Kindly accept it. And you said you had a question, so you can ask. But let me take a question from the chat box first. Abishai says, quick question: is temperament from birth or from the environment a child finds him or herself? Did you be?
Okay.
Can you take that
Temperament,
for us?
yeah. Temperaments are inbuilt. They are from birth. But then character is from our environment, like your neighborhood, like your church, like your school, like your family. And we must understand that when it comes to
Okay.
temperament, it has its negative and positive sides. Even now, there's a fifth one called supine. I know there's melancholy, there's choleric, there's
Mm.
sanguine, there's what's the fourth one? What am I forgetting? There's a fifth one called supine. Maybe another time we can go through all of that. But those ones are inbuilt. It has its negatives and it has
Is
its
that
positives.
what
Supine, Supine.
supine? Hey, I
Yes,
see.
yes, there's a new one. And so it has its negatives and then positives.
I
An
see.
example is obi to say obi oye sanguine, very loud all over the place. But sanguines hardly
Mm-hmm.
produce results because they are easily distracted. So whether your temperament is this or that,
Mm,
have its negative sides. And then
mm,
this temperament can easily be influenced by your character. And this character built up by our environment. So Obiatana, sorry for lack of a better
mm,
word or example, Obiatana Zongo. Do you get it? The person has experienced loudness. The person has experienced
mm.
yelling,
Yeah,
noise. Inti so you'll be a choleric. Ne temperament
yeah,
allows the person to be a quiet person.
yeah.
But because of the environment the person finds himself, you would see that the person is exhibiting signs of a sanguine. And so when you study psychology, there's inclusion, there's
Mm-hmm.
there's temperament in inclusion and in control, and then there's a last one. So one person can actually have three different temperaments in three different ways. The day we decide to learn on we study on it, I'll go
Temperaments.
back to my books. Yes. So somebody will
Mm.
be choleric in
We'll
inclusion,
talk about that very
yes,
soon.
and
Please
sanguine
prepare. We'll talk about it very
in
soon.
control. Yes. So it's our environment that is, picked up. But for temperament, it is within. We are born with it, but it can be influenced by your environment.
Indoor. Okay. Mm, mm. Okay. So Deborah Johnson, when we were talking about neglect, she said yes, a male child was assaulted by his aunt for 3 years. He tried talking to his parents, but no one paid attention to him. And now he doesn't have control over his sex life. That is really sad. Really sad, man.
It is.
And Elias Quay says trauma can be passed on to generations. Do you agree with that, Tajibi?
No, I do not, unless it's spiritual. It can be passed on when the same, what do you call it,
You
conditions,
don't?
or I said it can be passed on if the same conditions are passed on, like father attitude passing it on to you.
Mm,
Like if a child is neglected, bullied, all of that, and then he grows up with it,
okay, yeah.
he takes it for granted and treats his
Mm-hmm.
child like his father treated him, then that can be passed on. But I don't think
Mm,
genetically it's possible
treated
unless
him. Mm,
if the cycle continues,
mm,
then it will continue. If
okay.
if not, then I don't think there's any
Mm,
other way that it can be passed on.
mm. And when we're talking about the effect of childhood trauma on the child, Barry Sam says correct. In fact, sometimes when you go out, you don't even want to come back home. Hmm. That's
It's
that's
sad.
sad.
It's sad,
Very
yeah.
sad. Very
And you
sad.
see, it's because we take some of these things for granted.
For
Now that I
granted, yeah.
now that we here have knowledge about it, you would realize that you treat your children differently and you treat other people's children differently. But then if you
Mm-hmm.
have no knowledge about what's going on, if you're naive about it, it's very difficult to um, do
Hmm.
all these things we are talking about. Because if you see your child
Yeah.
sitting somewhere on casa, now say your child is someone that's always lively and energetic, and all of a sudden they are so quiet and you are not bothered, you neglect
You should be
them,
bothered, yeah.
reach out.
Mm.
Something is wrong with you
Mm.
as a parent. That's why I mentioned that if you realize that you are acting abnormally, you know yourself more than anybody does. If you are yelling more than you
Mm.
should, recently I realized that I was getting pissed a lot, and I chanced on
Mhm.
a video on
Taking
TikTok.
it out on Zion.
The woman was talking about if you are getting pissed a lot, and remember that maybe it's perimenopausal. I said, God forbid,
Hey.
menopausal. What
Mm.
was? And then I started screaming that David. They said menopause has reached 35. Oh, you know.
Oh.
And because I
Mhm.
heard the woman talk about it, I decided to assess myself and pay
Yeah.
attention to lots of things, and then
Mm-hmm.
take care of myself. So I've been intentional about
Mm-hmm.
my emotions so that I don't, you know,
Mm.
best out so much. Your child is
Mm-hmm.
always seeing the worst side of you.
Of
It's not healthy.
you, yeah.
Not healthy.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Lady Jackie says, amazing session. This is very educative. Thank you so much. I pray God heals every hurting heart and anyone who has suffered childhood trauma. Amen. All right. Beatrice Nuete says about the last one she spoke about, dealing with the urge to fit in. If someone is like that, how can the person deal with it to be a better version of him or herself?
Um, I think that we've heard it so many times that we should love ourselves. That is the only way. That is the only way. And it doesn't come easily. Nothing comes easily. No good thing comes easily in this life. And so you need to understand that you are sometimes sad, angry, or envious because you keep comparing your life to other people in your mind. You don't say it out loud,
True.
but unconsciously you're thinking that this person is doing better. That person is doing better than me. Why is my life like this? Why am I not like that? And when it happens, you have it all saved in your subconscious. And once in a while, it would pop up, especially for women. When there's a little hormonal imbalance, you would realize that all of those things that you kept in there suppressed, they'll start coming out. That is why when our hormones fluctuate, we are the most emotional. I hope you get me. And so the more you think other people are doing better than you, the more you think you wanted to be here and you are not. You're comparing your life to other people. It's very easy for you to look down on yourself. And whatever you project is what we would accept. I have someone who is always, when you say you're looking nice, they're nice. This thing that she has said it so much that when I see her, automatically I see her in a certain way, no matter how nice she's looking. Because you do it and you say it so much that
Hmm.
all of us around you, we go to accept it. Now,
Hmm.
if you would settle in, understand that whatever it is we are going through in this life could have been worse. I tell people all the time that because of the kind of work I do, I have grown to be so grateful to God that as I sit there and I think I've had 3 miscarriages in life, I know someone who has had 11. And I say that this could have been worse. And so, in as much
Hmm.
as you think they are better than you and you are doing so much to fit in, understand that we have different destinies and we have different lives and we have different plans. And God's will for our lives are different. It doesn't matter the path you are taking. In as much as you are working in the will of God, you have a glorious end. Because imagine trusting your future into the hands of someone who actually knows the future, who actually is the future.
Exactly.
So you need to settle in. Love yourself and love your present. That is the only way you can
Hmm.
appreciate what you have. And then when you appreciate what you have and you realize that you are as amazing as whatever you think you are seeing with those people, then you wouldn't have the need to do so much to fit in because you know you are enough and you know you are amazing. That's just it. Until then, you will
Hmm.
grow to be 55 or 56 or 60 or 90, and you would still do things or struggle to please people and to fit in. At the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah. Yeah.
stand before Jesus. He would ask you about your life and nobody else.
No one else's.
Like
Exactly.
I always say, Raj,
Yeah.
God does not create
Mm-hmm.
us human beings for fun. Onyame on create him for chobi.
Mm-hmm.
For
Hmm.
every human being on this earth, you have an assignment with God. You have an
An
assignment with God.
assignment.
And the people you surround yourself with, the kind of things you fill your mind with, the the things you imagine, all of those things, they're all working out for you to walk in that purpose and in that line to please God and to fulfill that destiny for which He brought you onto this earth for. So
Mm.
please, until you accept that you are enough, created by God for an assignment that you would account for, you continue to live your life to please people and not God. And it comes with consequences.
Yeah.
Unless you've
Wow.
realized that if you do not have control over whatever you are feeling right now, and you feel it's beyond you, it could be mental. You can reach out to me and we'll handle it. But on the Christian side, please, as I am sitting here, if somebody thinks they are beautiful than I am, I accept I'm ugly than you are. Let's move on. Nothing spoiled.
We move.
I
Hmm.
we move. Nothing spoiled.
We move. We move. We move. Barry Sam says, what would be the best help a child who is going through verbal abuse from his or her parents could get? Because being a child, sometimes you feel unloved and you could easily get the wrong help from usually the opposite sex.
Hmm. For this, I don't know if you're friends with the parents or the family. If it is, then I think you should find a way of reaching out. Because the truth is, you can draw the child to yourself and be there for the child. But the child would always go back home. The child would always go back home.
Yeah.
If we all decide
Mm.
to if we all decide to play our roles very well and speak well to the kids, the child could grow fond of you anytime they're around you, they are safe and all that. But they will definitely go back home. And so if there's
Mm.
nothing you can do about it, like talking to the parents and making them understand the effect it's having on their kid, then when the kid comes around you, you will do your best to make them understand that they are enough. You can let them understand that whatever they are going through, that's not exactly who they are, all the pep talk and all of that. I think that's the best way because obi bad it would
Mm.
be very difficult to, go all out. Some of the parents might even accuse you of trying to brainwash their kids
Yeah.
or
Mm.
so if you don't have a good relationship with the parents, just be sweet to the child. They are children.
Mm.
Whatever we do to them or say to them, it gets stuck in their head. He or
Mm-hmm.
she might remember all the nasty stuff mama and dada told him or her, but they would always remember the good ones you told them. Telling her or him that she's beautiful and she's smart and she's all that. No matter what happens, she'll definitely remember it. And God will help them. You pray for them that it sticks in their minds, that they would forever
Mm.
remember. It just keep ringing in their minds like the negative word. Then I think that's the best you can do.
Mm. Okay, thank you. I have about two questions before I take Debbie's question. So the first one is, I came across a story, and this was a real life story about a gentleman who was neighbors with this child and her parents. Now the child's parents were constantly fighting, like they were constantly fighting and then neglecting the child, and the child would always come to him. Unfortunately, so when you are rendering help to a child and the child is of the opposite sex, you have to be very careful so
Mm,
that it doesn't cause problems. So the child would come to him a lot of times. He would hear a knock on his door. "Obeka could be a A lot of times she would even come and do her homework at his end, and he would just take care of her, and she'll fall asleep, and then she'll take her back to her parents. They would sometimes would be busy, so busy having the argument that they won't even realize that the child has left the house. So one day he said he was there when the he heard like knocks on his door, and it was when he looked outside his window, it was like a community of people ready to lynch him. And the parents of the child started accusing him of abuse, sexual abuse and all that. And he was surprised. Like, I was like, what are they talking about? That the child said that he made love with him. So,
mm,
what's it? So they called a police officer. The police officer came in and asked the child to narrate like what happened. And the child said that, oh, she went to the gentleman's house and he made love with her. I said, what do you mean he made love with her? And then the child said, I'm coming. She went into a backpack and then brought out a piece of paper. The gentleman had helped her to draw a heart shape, the shape of a heart, love, and written mom and dad there. That was the love she was talking about.
Ah,
And this child, in her naivety and yes, in her naivety, had said it that way, and the parents had totally taken it out of context. So yes, as much as we want to help people, we should be very, 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 very careful, especially when the children are of the opposite sex, before people start reading meanings into it or before we get into trouble. Okay, now you are talking about let's say a child has grown up in an abusive environment, a toxic environment, and all that. Now he has become a very, very some way adult, and he said that that person needs psychological help. But the psychological help, no, I say it's not free, Bia. Is it free? It's not free. It's expensive, Kaka.
oh, it's not free, but hmm, I don't
Talking
know.
about our
I think
nation,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
where
it's actually affordable. When you go to some of the public hospitals, they're affordable. They take as low as 50 cedis a session. I think Accra is it Accra Polytechnic? Accra Polyclinic. Is it Polytechnic? Accra Polyclinic.
polyclinic, okay.
There are a few hospitals I know of. I think even Rage Hospital. When you go and
Okay.
ask for counselors, they have group therapies and all that. They
Okay.
can take as low as 30 cities.
Okay.
But no, no one said because
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
it's not like one on one. You know,
One on one, yeah.
you
Mm.
could get
But
one.
it's a start. It's a start.
Yes, you could get one on one, but it's always
Mm.
higher. So maybe if
Mm.
therapy is like 50 CDs, one on one would be like 60, 70. I'm sure 50 cry you get.
Mm.
Just take a step
We can
because
get. Oh, okay.
it's important.
Okay. Okay. That's nice. But apart from speaking with a professional, is it okay to sometimes speak with maybe, friends or maybe someone older than you that you feel you can confide in? Sometimes you just want to pour out your heart and all that. Would it help at all? Or by all means you need to get professional help?
Raj, you see, when we talk about counseling, the ones we do in church and with friends, it's more like advice. Do you get it? Because when you come to me for therapy, I cannot use my life to advise you.
Mm,
That's the difference. I cannot use my life to advise you. And there are routines and there are rules and there are techniques that
mm,
per whatever problem the person
mm,
is bringing in, you could use. Secondly,
mm,
before we pick a technique, we would have to know the person's temperament. That is why we do different kinds of tests. Also, most of the times when people come, you can realize from some of the tests we do that whatever mental health condition they are in is probably as a result of a chronic disease that has been left untreated. Because when somebody has, let's say, diabetes or hypertension, eventually it lands them into mental health wahala. I hope you understand. So all of these things, when you seek professional help, that's when you can get
oh, okay.
solution to. But when it
Yeah.
comes to friends, it's temporal.
Mm,
When you flare
mm.
up a bit
Can
or
you
you
get?
get to an episode, you talk to a friend, you calm down. The next minute you are back there. But it could be that what you need is actual
Mm-hmm.
tests to be done or put on
Mm.
medication or go through a certain process to actually get a lasting solution to whatever you are going through. So talking to friends here, it's important. But the thing is that, unlike me, that everything you come to tell me is highly confidential. And if you should ever report that I have leaked your story, I could lose my license. There are people you would talk to
Confidential. Yeah.
in confidence, it would get leaked and it would actually worsen your situation.
Mm.
Because if you are dealing with any kind of depression and you find out that whatever you discussed is out there, when you hear,
We'll use it to preach lah.
yes, when you hear it, it would worsen whatever you're going through. And that's another issue. And you know, if you know you don't have friends that you can really confide in, because if you are dealing with depression because you were raped or you were this or that, and you wish you could just talk to someone and keep it a secret, and later you hear that it's all over the place, the thought of dealing with all of these things plus whatever you're already dealing with would just worsen everything. So yes, if you have amazing friends you can hang out with, it's important. There are a few things you could do though. Eating healthy is one of them.
Mm.
Exercising is one of them. Um, Journaling.
Mm.
Everybody needs a journal, like a diary. What you can do, what most of our clients, we make them do.
Wow.
Anytime
Mm.
you so overwhelmed with your emotions, imagine speaking to a friend. Write everything down. Just keep writing. Don't stop. In all your anger, pour it out. I'm so angry. He's the worst
Mm.
person. Right? Just pour it. When you finish, rip it off and burn it or shred it. It's more like letting it go with the fire or into the bin.
Mm. Mm.
It works. It's amazing. It's
Mm.
a great technique. So
Oh,
get a
okay.
journal and start writing. You are
Wow.
shredding it because you don't want
Wow.
somebody else to
That's free. You see, I just gave you all free therapy.
yeah, free therapy. Yeah. Just just keep writing. Write. Just write. If you feel like insulting the person, insult the person. Also, understand that all your emotions are valid. People go through grief, go through trauma, and when they are crying, obi say oh jai soon, bear soon, asem kakra win away soon. Someone lost two children, and then people have the guts to tell
Hmm.
her that your children have been dead for 1 year. You are still crying.
Can you
Remember that
imagine? Mm.
your feelings are valid, and your feelings are your feelings. They are your truth. No matter how sad your story is, me, I am not feeling your feeling. I can only empathize with you and say,
Mm.
oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
sad. Oh, I'm praying with you, but I'm actually sleeping. So only you are feeling your feeling. And so allow yourself to feel all the feel. Cry
Mm.
uncontrollably if you want to. Holding
Mm.
all those emotions in
Yeah.
will never make you heal. You would never heal. Cry so much if you want to cry. If you don't want to cry, don't let anybody make you cry. But if you want to
Mm.
cry, cry. And then the last one would be finding a good
Mm.
coping mechanism. For me, it's writing. For me, it's music. Anytime I feel overwhelmed, it's worship songs. For some people, it's cooking. For some people, it's going to the gym.
Mm.
Find a healthy coping mechanism, something you can always do when you feel so overwhelmed. For now, until you are ready to get yourself a therapist, these are some of the few things you can do to help you keep
Mm.
a healthy mind.
Wow. 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 We have a few minutes. Ajubi, let me take Debbie's question and then please put out your socials, your handles, and then maybe your official phone number. But first, let me take Debbie's question.
So my question is, I have a child in my class. I'm talking based on the abuse she was talking about. So this child, I mean, any least opportunity she gets, she's always beating her peers. And the way she does it, like slap them left and right. In fact, I'm wondering because I don't know what is going on at home. And then I tried talking to the parent, and the parent was telling me she learned it from the school. But here was the case. The first week she came, that was her behavior. She slaps you like an adult. I don't know if the father is doing something at home because, and she has anger issues too. She's 3.
She's 3.
She's always rebellious. Yes,
Oh, then she
Hey,
picked it from home. She either it's either they allow the child to watch everything.
yes, the mom said she did, and for that she was able to say that. But there's other things to it. It's not just the fighting. No,
Hello.
she uses abusive words and all that.
Words that you know she can only
Like I
hear from
hate.
some.
Yes, like an adult. Yes.
Oh, then she's picking it up from home. She's either picking it from home or
so
TV or anything.
so as a teacher, what can she do to help this child in like from her side?
Yeah. You know, most of these children, all they need is someone who loves them, appreciates them, and make them feel good about themselves. 3 years there, she's too young. So she's definitely picking it from somewhere. And I can't say it's school because they don't do that in school. And it could be that the parents are shy to accept that she's picking it from home because it would be like either daddy is beating mommy or mommy is beating daddy. And they don't want people to know. So, yes,
Exactly.
they are definitely shy to accept it. And so, just draw the child closely to yourself. Let her feel that you really love her. You don't have to let the other
And
kids
here's
know.
the case.
Okay.
Oh, they've seen it because she does it openly. And here's the
No,
case. Her mom is fed up. The mom cries like her behavior. She can't control it anymore. She wants to see a therapist. And I told her she has to be 4 before we can give her any help.
the child, I don't think
She's a
she's
Lebanese.
I don't think she's experiencing the kind of love that she needs. So for you as a teacher, you don't have to let the other children know what I'm talking about right now. Let the child feel like you love her more than the other kids. Do you get it?
Okay.
So much that
Yes.
she would trust you to open up to you. Right now, I'm sure they've told her that don't tell your teacher that daddy slapped me. But when she gains your trust and realizes that you love her and feels like you love her more than the other kids, I mean, it's just in her mind. The other kids must not know or feel like you love her more. She is 3, so she might not really understand it. When she begins to trust you, she'll tell you stuff that they've probably told her not to tell you. And that's where you can start giving her the help that she needs. Because whatever she's doing, she thinks it's normal. She really thinks it's normal. That's why she's doing
Okay.
it. So let's try that. I'll put my number out. You can just keep updating me. Let's try that and see. So when you gain her trust, don't even ask her the questions. She's a kid. Anytime she's bothered, she'll tell you. I know it will take a while, but let's not rush the process. Just reach out to her, always call her, hug her, do all of those things. Let her trust you and build that rapport with her. I'm sure we'll get there.
Okay. You know, I tried doing all that. She even frustrates me myself. Sorry to
Does she
say.
have does she have siblings?
They are twins.
They are twins.
Yeah.
And the other one is not like that.
No.
Twins there, it's normal, mom, but what she's doing is to the extreme. So she's definitely picking it from somewhere. But like I mentioned earlier, temperament. Temperament. The other twin could probably be a male or do you get it? That, and those are even dangerous because the day they explode, it's serious. So let's just do that and find out exactly what's going on.
Okay, thank you, Eunice. Thank you, Debbie. Eunice, can you please put out your socials and your official number or something that people can?
Okay, so on, I think I'm really active on Instagram. Facebook, I'm not active. It's Ajubi,
Yeah.
ADWOBI, ADWOBI, and my number is my, okay, work number. I almost put my personal, but that's 054 299
Mm-hmm.
5216. 054
299
299 5216.
16.
Yes, 05. Let me just type it.
I've typed it.
Okay, yes,
Zero
05
five four two nine nine five
52.
two one six.
Yes. So please, you can reach out.
So you can reach out to her.
I don't take much, please.
So, so please reach out to Eunice and you will not regret it. So thank you so much, Eunice, for this time with you. I really appreciate it. I really hope that we've all learned a thing or two out of this, and it's going to inform the way we relate with our children and other people's children. And for those of us who grew up with this kind of childhood trauma, I hope that we'll be able to reach out to her and get the necessary help so that we do not bleed on people who didn't cut us. So thank you all so much. God richly bless you. Have a good evening. We will meet in 2 weeks. Thank you. Follow me on social media. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Lady Raj, and you will get all the previous episodes and this one too. Thank you. Bye.